Awesome. Good morning, y'all. Hey, thank you so much for plugging in. And I do get a kick out of posting that our Monday and Wednesday call starts at 9:14. I do get some questions about that every now and then. Like, was that a typo? The biggest thing is we want to get started right at 9:15 on Mondays and Wednesdays because we are kind of going right into the DRT at 10 o'clock. And it's very important that we be on time for that. So we just feel like on Mondays and Wednesdays, this call that we do for you guys, it is so important because we are meeting you where you are. Okay, when you plug in at 10 o'clock on the DRT, you're hearing the top producers pretty much in all of virtual sales. Now I realize they're all under the Equus umbrella. They're all under the Equus banner. But I'm telling you, when you look at their production, and you compare it to the entire mortgage protection industry, there's just not anybody out there outperforming the top producers at Equus Financial. So the DRT at 10 o'clock, like literally you've got the best of the best that are teaching you what their lead investment is. They're teaching you their sales process. They're teaching you all of their best practices. And so, I think it should give you a vision, a goal, like, hey, that's who I want to be. That's like I want to be like that. I want to be a top producer, or I want to be a top distribution builder. So anyway, so 9:14 on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kick off this morning, and then I'm gonna share the platform this morning with Matt Rutledge and Johnny Brooks, and we're basically going to do a round robin just on thoughts that's going to make you better at mortgage protection sales. And so here I go. Okay, number one, to me, you have to understand how important it is to put pressure on the number of sits that you do over a week's time. Okay. Now, I always looked at my week as 2 3.5 day periods. Okay. I didn't really do anything on Sundays. The only thing I did on Sundays was late afternoon, early evening. Those of you guys that know me, y'all know that was a crucial time in me preparing for my week. Basically like getting my thoughts, like I just come off of the weekend. Yes, I did some work on Saturday morning, booking my calendar, but Sundays was usually a day of unplugging and things like that. So late Sunday afternoons, usually about the time that the second round of football games are starting, or maybe at least kind of going into the halftime of the second round of football games. I always like kind of getting alone and really just putting my group in front of me and just really preparing, for the upcoming week. I thought that was crucial to me. So I always looked at my week as 2 3.5 day periods. That was just my mindset. It's like when I play golf. When I play golf, I don't play 18 holes. Now, okay, so those of you guys that kind of know golf, you'll get this. Okay, so golf, a full round of golf is 18 holes. Okay, so I played 6 3-hole. Basically, in my mind, I would play, so every 3 holes, like I would divide up my round in every 3 holes. So first 3 holes, second 3. So I had 6 3-hole. Basically, that was the way I thought about golf, trying to score, especially if I were playing in a tournament. People talk about playing one shot at a time, one hole at a time, things like that. Well, to me, it was just always important to divide the round up in 6 3-hole, sort of thing. So when I was in my personal sales, I would book my calendar pretty much because I was face to face. I would book my calendar on Saturday mornings, And so I really I wanted to go out and accomplish my personal production goal. Guys, do y'all understand that my personal production goal was never to write more than 5 to 7 apps a week? I was not trying to be number one on the personal produce. I didn't want to be a top personal producer in life insurance. I wanted to go make the amount of money I needed to make to pay my bills and invest in my business. So when Barry Clarkson called a meeting at the Greenbrier, I didn't have to think about my finances. I went out, I personally produced in order to run my business the way it needed to be run. So I was not trying to be Deanna Cooper. I wanted to go write 5 to 7 apps a week, pretty much 5 apps a week, and then I wanted to build my business. 5 apps a week created cash flow, and then I went out and built my business. Guys, that was just me. So those of you guys that your whole mindset, your whole goal is to build distribution, do not get caught up in the whole recognition of personal production. Don't do it. Because there are people out there that do spend 6, 7 days a week trying to write 14, 15, 20,000 a week, which, hey, listen, that's a lot of money. But I sold out. When y'all hear me do the opportunity overview, y'all hear every week that I sell out to passive income. I sell out to distribution building. My dream is not working for the rest of my life having to go out and write insurance every week. That's not my dream. My dream is 100% total financial freedom, which means time and money. And the only way to create time and money is to duplicate yourself. I hope that makes sense to somebody out there. So for the personal producer, learn to put pressure on the number of sits that you do over a week's time. Don't ever put pressure on the individual sit. Don't do it. I see some of you guys, you go do 2 sits and you don't sell them, and all of a sudden you go into emergency mode. Guys, you can't live your life that way. You just can't do it. I promise you, you don't want to live your life that way. So write this down, okay? This is really good for those of you out there looking to achieve in personal production. This is really good, okay? Understand that there is a close ratio with leads. So any lead type you're working, if you've developed the cash flow and you're working A leads, congratulations, you're working the top close ratio. Whenever you buy A leads, you should be booking more appointments in less time than any other lead type out there, okay? If you're not quite where you're working A leads and you're working inventory leads, let's say you're working $3 Equus leads, okay? They have a close ratio. The close ratio is a lot lower, meaning what? Meaning if I'm going to book the number of appointments I need to work like so much harder than the person that's doing A leads. So leads have a closing ratio, but this is what I want you to understand. Sits, quality sits, which is why it's important, at least in the early going, that you book your own appointments. Okay, I believe in appointment setters. I created appointment setters, and at a certain time when my business started really growing, in order for me to stay in personal sales, I had to have people booking my appointments. Those of you guys that want to learn that, I'm more than happy to teach you. And I'm more than happy to teach you where I found those appointment setters, because appointment setters, they can be good, but they're good for short periods of time. Okay. They have a shelf life. Okay. Not going to try to teach that today. Okay. But quality sits have a close ratio. Learn what your number is. Okay. You need to know what's your goal in production every week. What's your goal? Because whatever your goal in production every week, that's going to dictate how many leads you get based on the close ratio of the lead type you're working And then it's going to allow you to start resting. Guys, I just remember it was so cool for me when I learned what my closing ratios were, which was for sits, it was typically about 30 to 35%, meaning for every 10 quality sits that I did, I would write 3 to 3.5 applications. I think somebody's out there doing some auctioneering. Okay, so my individual close ratio. Okay, I was working A leads. My individual closing ratio on sits was somewhere around 30 to 35%. Y'all understand that? Yeah, that was my number, and I will tell you that is pretty much the industry standard. If you're doing 10 quality sits over and over, 10 quality sits, and you're not writing 3 applications out of that, you need help. You need help. Now, if you do 10 sits, one time and you don't write 3 applications, guys, you can't go into panic mode. But if you're consistently doing 10 quality sits, I don't care what lead type you're working. If you're doing 10 quality sits and you're not writing 3 applications, you need help. You need help in people skills. You need help in building like and trust. You need help at finding the need. You need help, okay? Because in this industry, pretty much standard is you're going to help 3 people out of 10 quality sits because the nature of the close ratios, you're going to have 3 buyers out of 10. Okay. Now, you guys know I've taught this. You're going to have 3 buyers out of 10. Out of 10, you're going to have 3 that maybe aren't ready to buy. And as you become really good, from plugging into calls like this, you're going to learn how to write a couple of those every now and then. But out of 10 sits, guys, you're going to have 3 that I don't care who you are. You could be Deanna Cooper. You could be Bill Martin OG. You're not going to write them. Okay. That's just the numbers. Okay. So number 1, write this down. Okay. And I'm going through my close right now. So put pressure on the number of sits, not the sit. Okay. Number 2, if you're going to be the best you can be, you have to learn how to develop enough confidence to be a field underwriter and not a life insurance salesman. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all, you get on and you're talking all faster and you're nervous and you're just trying to make the sale and you're not going to build very much like and trust. Okay. When you get to the appointment, and I don't care if you're doing it whereby face-to-face on virtual or whether you're in the home doing real face-to-face, you've got to slow down, okay? I always ask them, why did you fill out the form? What's on your heart? Why did you fill out the form? Guys, I'm going to tell you, so my sits, I've taught my sits, and I was very assumptive. I would start off and I would let people know, basically, I'm assuming the reason you filled out the form was because you wanted to make sure that your family was protected in the event that you pass away, get diagnosed with a critical illness, chronic illness, or terminal illness. Okay. Am I assuming correctly? Okay. Can you tell me in your words why you filled out the form? What's important to you? I wanted my client to start selling themselves. Guys, some of y'all, you don't set the table, you don't find the need. Therefore, your whole sit is you selling. That's never going to work. Okay. Life insurance is never sold. People buy life insurance. Okay. You've got to learn that. And maybe we'll go in and deal a little bit more with that tomorrow during our team call. Okay. But you need to develop the self-confidence. You need to have the self-image enough to slow down and realize your importance with your clients. Okay. You need to figure that out quick. I don't care if you practice in front of your dog. I don't care if you practice in front of your family, but you need to learn how to do that really, really quick. Why did you fill out the form? Why did you fill out the form? What was the reason? What were your thoughts when you filled out the form? Had something happened? Number two, if you didn't wake up this morning, what would reality be? If you didn't wake up this morning, what would reality be for your family? And I shut up. I'm listening. I want to know. I want you to be uncomfortable. I want to know what is reality if you didn't wake up this morning. Oh well, I've got a $30,000 policy with whatever I've got, whatever, or my family would be fine, or what. I want to know what your. I want to know the reality, but I want to know your attitude based on your reality. Okay, because I will tell you, my whole sit is designed to dive in because you need to know. And number three on that is, are you okay with that reality? Would you be able to rest easy in eternity based on the reality that you're going to leave your family right now? Okay. And again, so if my client comes up, he or she, and they've already got current life insurance, fantastic. I'm here to make sure that you've got what you think you've got. It's important. So no longer am I here to sell you a life insurance policy. No, so let's dive in. Let's look at your current policies and let's make sure they're what you think they are. Guys, I'm telling you, they're not. They're not. If you're not looking at existing coverage, and if you're not calling that insurance company with them on the phone and finding out exactly how much money they have, in coverage, how long is the product permanent or is it temporary? Those types of things you've got to know. Not okay with the reality. And I used to have some fun with my clients. I'm not saying that this is your personality, but I just thought about that this morning is that, and I didn't do this with every client, but sometimes I did, just having some fun with them. But if you're not okay, if I knew you weren't okay with your reality, or more important, if your spouse wasn't okay with your reality, there's a couple of different ways you can fix it. Okay. Number one, you can play the lottery. Go down to your convenience store or whatever, get the scratch offs. I mean, who knows, right? Like number two, you could go rob a bank. I don't recommend that, but I'm just saying it is an option. Okay. Number three, if you have your insurability, which I don't even know, I haven't even asked you about your health yet. But if you have your insurability, probably the easiest way to take care of it would be figuring out what you can afford and putting a life insurance policy in place. After all, Bob, so a life insurance, do you know what a life insurance policy is? Okay, basically, if a life insurance company, if they accept the risk you pose and they approve your policy, then a life insurance policy is this: you make X number of payment to them on a monthly basis. Okay, that's going to come out of draft, it's going to come out of your bank account, not a big deal. But as long as you make that payment every single month, when you pass away, they're going to pay your beneficiaries X amount of dollars. Okay, that's life insurance. Okay. Now, the new type of life insurance is that if you were to get diagnosed with a critical illness, chronic illness, terminal illness, you can, if you choose to, you don't have to, but if you choose to, you can accelerate a portion of your death benefit now to help offset some of the financial disaster that typically follows one of those three diagnoses. So there's two types of life insurance. One is where you bet that you're going to live. One is where you're going to bet that you're going to die. Now, I don't need to know your answer right now. Okay. But if you do have your insurability, I do want to ask you guys, especially my clients that are in their 50s, 60s, maybe early 70s. Okay. And maybe term is still an option. Okay. I want to know, do you want to bet on living or do you want to bet on dying? Okay. If you bet on dying within a certain time frame, then term is your choice. But if you're going to bet on living, you never want term. If you're going to bet on living, you always want to put permanent insurance in place. And if you're right, life insurance companies won't like you because permanent insurance never goes away. Okay. It always builds cash value and it never goes away, and it will pay out when you pass away. No questions asked. So, guys, that's just some of my thoughts, and I'm going to turn it over to, is it Matt Rutledge or Johnny Brooks?
Let's see who unmutes first. No, I think Johnny unmuted as well. Go ahead, Johnny. You can start your thoughts.
All right, cool, man. Thank you. Good morning, JK. Good morning, guys. Appreciate you being on with us today. I know, what JK is talking about here is, kind of basics on, getting up and running, kind of going out and learning that phone script, right? Because we can't protect families if we can't set appointments. And so I think to begin with, that's something you need to kind of hone in on and get it right. Working with your upline manager, whatever that case may be, whatever your phone script may be, you guys work on that together. And get it right. Make sure that your tonality is right. Make sure that you're saying the right things to get that appointment set. Now, I know JK talked a little bit about how an in-home presentation kind of goes, or a virtual presentation as we do it now. And I'm like JK. When I get into the home, guys, or virtual, I build that rapport with my client, right? I ask about pictures on the wall. I ask about family. We really get into a conversation because I don't want them sitting there on that virtual meeting with their arms folded and sitting back. I want them answering questions, right? I want them leaning forward. I want them, responding, to my questions. And so, building that rapport with your clients is huge. You've got to get them to trust you and understand, what we're offering them, is serious business here. And so, once I do that, I kind of go in, I let my clients know, who I am, medical field underwriter. I've been doing this for, 14, 15 years. I'm kind of like a national broker. That allows me to be able to shop every A+ rated company nationwide. There's probably 30 plus of them, Mutual of Omaha, Aflac, to name a few. And I let them know, hey, I'm going to spend, 3 or 4 minutes on medical questions with you, based on your age and your health. That'll kind of let me know what you qualify for, and also find something that fits in your budget each month. And then I ask them, hey, does that make sense? I want them responding back to me. I want them, talking to me as we're going through this, virtual meeting together. And the biggest thing is like John said, are we asking, who are we protecting today? Why did we fill this out to start with? And so I'll let them respond. If it's a husband and a wife, we've got a borrower and co-borrower. Well, I'll let them respond. Who are we protecting today? And sometimes it depends on who the breadwinner is. Most of the time it's the husband, but sometimes it is the wife as well. So we kind of figure out, okay, well, we're just looking to maybe just protect the husband today, right? So, what I basically let the husband know is, hey, John, I've got a couple of few questions. They're kind of tough questions, but they're very important. This coverage is very important, right? So John, just like John said earlier, so if John, if you were to pass away yesterday in a car wreck or a heart attack, what does that look like for Kim? Is Kim going to be able to afford the mortgage and all the bills by herself? And I'm like, John, I stop, I pause, I let them answer. because what they answer and what they tell you is exactly how, you're going to continue your conversation with this client, so what's your, if they tell me, well, no, not really. I don't think, Kim can handle it by herself. It's going to be kind of tough. And then I ask another tough question. Well, what kind of plan, or what plan do you have in place right now? If that were to happen. And then I shut up again. I pause. I let them answer. And most of the time, they do not have a plan in place. Now, I let them know, hey, just curious, besides budget, since we kind of customize all the plans, we've got 30 plus carriers that we work with. Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to protect Kim today? And then I let them answer, right? And then soon as I get that, we kind of got the reason why we filled it out. We know who we're trying to protect, and we also know why they filled the information and sent it out, because John wants to make sure that Kim's taken care of, right? And so we've got all that to work with. And then that's when I kind of just go right into my quotes, right? I always give three quotes to my clients. I give them a kind of a lower quote, one kind of in the middle, and then one normally that almost covers the full mortgage. It just depends on their age. And most of the time they pick the one right in the middle, right? So always try to give them three options if you can. And most of the time they'll pick the one in the middle. Now, sometimes you'll start out with that lower premium and they're like, oh, I don't know. That's probably real close to my budget there. So sometimes you have to start there and end there, right? Now, what I normally do once I get the quotes together, JK, is I'll go out and, just basically go into basically letting them know, hey, this is nothing you can buy. We've got to, get you approved for it. And if you see a need in this, like 95% of the applicants we sit down with, our job's pretty simple today. We're going to find something that fits in your budget. We're going to find something that you qualify for, and then we're going to go ahead and take the application today, because again, like I said earlier, it's not up to me, up to you, it's up to the carrier. So we need to send that request in to the carrier. And then once I kind of go through that with them, hey, it's going to take, 3 or 4 days to get you approved. That'll give you some time to, they'll give you an additional 30 days to, either go up with the policy or come down with the policy, whatever is good, makes good sense to you. And then once we do that, I kind of just go into, hey, the carrier's going to need 3 things, guys. They're going to need your driver's license number, and that's just to do the background check, right? They're going to need your social security number, which, is for prescription checks. And then they're going to need your routing and account number so you can pay the bill. Now, we don't use debit cards because, people can take debit cards that are not secure at all. That's why we ask for your routing and account number, because that's secure. You can't do anything with it. I can't take that and go buy something with it. So if you've got those 3 things on you today, we'll go ahead and start the application. And that's kind of what I try to do, JK, when it comes to, sitting with my clients and, really get them involved and listening, to what we have to offer. This stuff is very important, what we have to offer here, and it could make a difference in that family's life. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share today, Matt. I don't know if you want to add to that or JK add to it, but I'll turn it over to Matt with any questions or what he wants to share.
Yeah. I think that one of the biggest things, specifically if you're a new agent on here, specifically you say, well, okay, I hear all of this that they're saying. It sounds very familiar. It's almost like they repeat the same thing. If you're brand new, this is the first time you're hearing it. Okay. But if you're new, you still haven't written your application, you've been with us 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're still doing onboarding, the message is the same. It's never going to change. You know why? Because this business doesn't change, Johnny B. I see Casey shaking his head a little bit there, in which if you're a visual person and you're very analytical, I'm about to make you very happy here in just a second. But the biggest thing that I just want to express is, if we can do it, you can do it. If we can do it, you can do it. I just finished my master's degree a couple weeks ago. But let me tell you something. When I was going for my bachelor's, I had to take English 2, 3 times because I'm that bad at English. Okay? I'd take English 2, 3 times because I'm that bad at English. That was before Chat GPT was invented. So I couldn't go, try to get it figured out on Chat GPT. So if I can do it, you can do it. Okay? If I can do it, you can do it. I promise you. It's not that difficult. So here's something I'm about to share with you. We had it rolling at the beginning of no, I want the full screen. At the beginning of the call. And I kind of want to share it with you one more time. Can you see that pretty good, Johnny B?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is our list of from last year. If you can see, I'm still scrolling, of unique writers who wrote at least one piece of business last year. Jason Brown, he got the top spot with 276 applications. Last year, through the process we're telling you to purchase leads or go to your warm market, there was 4,603 applications submitted last year. 4,603. On average, there was 236 agents that submitted at least one piece of business. Now, this is for all last year. So you could have come in the business in January, or this could be somebody who just got in the business in December and wrote a piece of business. However, 4,603 divided by 236 is roughly 19 applications per agent. Now, granted, you can't make a living off of that, right? But numbers are the numbers are the numbers, and they're always going to be numbers. If you do sits, if you buy leads, if you make phone calls, you're going to write applications. You just have to get to the number that's dedicated to the lead type that you're buying. If you're buying $3 leads, $4 leads, it's going to take you about 15 to 20 leads, dialing them 3 times a piece before you actually get an application out of it. Roughly. Okay. I'm telling you, just get to the number. If you owned a clothing business and you had a brick and mortar and you're just sitting there all day waiting on clients to come in, eventually you're going to go out of business, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to do something to drum up some business. Well, luckily, all the marketing part has been done for you already. You just buy the lead and do the phone call. Okay. So, yes, I understand. They're going to say, nope, I'm not interested. Click. No, I've already done this. I've already heard from somebody. Click. No, no, my husband's not at home right now. Can you call me back later? You call them back later. They don't pick up the phone. Like, I'm trying to be genuine and I'm trying to be honest with you. Your bills aren't going to be paid because of your sympathy stories, right? And that's the thing that JK is trying to explain to you. See, I'm not just speaking. This is from. I started writing applications again in September. So for 4 months, I submitted about 31 applications. Okay. Casey Gregory's on here. I see his face. Number 8, submitted 149 applications. Okay. I see, let's see, Johnny Brooks. Well, Johnny, I know he's more focused on, let's see who we got. Alita here. Alita, 29 applications, right? So, I mean, it's important for you to understand the people that you see on here and they're shaking their head, yes, right? And here's Lisa Kurtz. We had her on Monday, 82 applications. If you didn't see that, go back and watch it. It's on the YouTube channel, right? I'm gonna unmute Casey Gregory for just a second. So Casey, get ready in just a minute. But what I'm trying to tell you is we're not telling you things just to tell you things to make it sound good. We're telling you things because we want you to be in business and we want you to work and we want you to make money based upon a industry that we know is successful because we've been doing it. And it's not something we're just making it up, and we're not trying to tell you something that just sounds good. We want you to actually survive, make money, and do what's good for you, right? So that's what I want to say today. Casey, do you have anything? I mean, you're a little bit, obviously, you're more in the field than any of the rest of us that have spoken so far this morning. You. Second, I clicked the wrong button. I'm hosting and speaking. So you're in the field a little bit more than the rest of us.
Right.
can probably add some more validity to what we are saying. But just share anything that's maybe on your heart this morning.
Sure. It gave me a thought this morning when John was talking, and then when you and Johnny, we're all saying the same things. Why? Because just like you said, the process doesn't change. And there's something about when you hear the same thing over and over and over and over that will resonate with you. So I think it was John that said, if I woke you out of a deep sleep tonight and asked you to tell me something about the business, you could rattle it right off because it's been seared into your consciousness and subconsciousness. It's important to get this down. It's important for me. I enjoy hearing it over and over again because it solidifies and gets my day and my mind right. So when I start making phone calls, it's not, for me, I just need a fresh every day, you know? And so it's a good reminder. All the leads have a certain ratio. What kind of lead, have the proper expectation. These are just people, you know, just give them a call. If you're low and slow and you talk with authority, and some of you folks are brand new, think, well, I don't have any confidence like that. I don't have any experience to speak of. That's none of us did when we started. I remember starting and feeling all those same ways. Once you do it enough, it won't take long. You'll feel like you're just by the virtue of you having a license, you're going to know more than them anyway. So it doesn't matter really what kind of coverage, just get them covered. I know John said that because I remember him saying it. He goes, just get them coverage. Some coverage is better than no coverage. So if you view yourself as a lifeline that you're throwing out there, that they're not doing you a favor. I know you need to make money. We all do. I do too. But you're doing them a favor. You're the one offering them some security that they think they'll never need because they don't allow themselves to think like that. So I would just say, just become a student of it every day. Make your dials. Don't worry so much about what you say. It's kind of how you say it. And, go over the form with them. Is this something that's important? Because if it's not important to you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how can it be important to me? I mean, if you're not interested in protecting your family any more than $50, $60, $80 a month, we don't really have a lot to talk about. I can pray for you, but just get down to it. Don't worry about offending them. And don't forget this. This is a one sit close 99.9% of the time. Don't think that you're going to get them to be all, hey, let's talk tomorrow, or let's talk, next week, or call me here, or can you email that stuff to me? We had one of those the other day. Yeah, I can email it to you, but let me ask you a question. What good is that going to do in terms of getting your family covered? How about we get an application and just see how the insurance company underwriters are going to think about the medications that you're on, your height, weight, all that kind of thing. And just see. We can always adjust the coverage amounts to suit your budget. But money aside, do you want to protect her? Or do you want to protect him in the event that you lose his income? If they've got little kids, even better. Do you want to ensure their insurability if they get a childhood illness and can't get coverage later? And they can get 5 times the coverage that they get today, and it doesn't cost but just pennies. All of those things. We're looking at actually protecting the entire family if we can. But those practical questions, I think, can really bring it home to someone who's not in this industry. We're not insurance salespeople. We're financial services folk who are reaching out in genuine care to help them. That's about all I got.
Go ahead, JK.
Well, I just listen. I've loved all of this. Everything that you taught, Johnny taught, Casey just added on there. I absolutely love it. I love the thing that I love is when you decide to work within the system. Okay, when you decide to work within the system of close ratios, the system of all, when you decide to work within it, it's like I think I typed this yesterday, and I'm not sure who I sent it to, but airplanes flying, right? Like air up in there, these big massive jets flying, like they work within the laws of flight. There are laws that they must abide by, and they do it, right? And so agents that are just starting this business, if they would abide under the laws of lead driven sales and understand that lead driven sales, it is what it is. Do not try to make it something that it's not. Work within the close ratios and go thrive, because when every single one, like all those people that you scroll through, if every single one would have made a short-term commitment, and I'm talking about 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks of massive action toward their warm market and inventory age leads, I believe every single one of them could have gotten to the point financially where they could have got enough money in their bank account where they could have gotten on an A lead standing lead. And I'm not talking about Deanna Cooper 40, 50 leads a week. I'm talking about at least 10 to 15 A leads a week that they could have operated on a higher close ratio, which means they would have done a lot less work, but started consistently writing more business and making money. Guys, this business is so awesome. When you work within the laws, when you work within the system, it's the close ratios make your income just as sure, just as consistent as any W-2 income out there. That's why every single week that I did X number of sits. Now there were a few times in my sales career where I went through a dry spell, right? And both 2 times I went through a dry spell. Both times I had just gotten too transactional. I got away from doing what I taught earlier, which was finding the need. Right? I got away from that. Okay. But when you get to where your income is just as consistent as a W-2, but you own your schedule. I'm just telling you, life got to be really good. Life got to be really good. Again, I was not trying to be number one on the leaderboard, but I consistently, when I was in personal sales, I consistently produced $215, $220, $25,000 on my own personal pen. I'll tell you what, guys, that's not the income level that I want my wife to live at. But I will tell you this: had my business never really grown, I will tell you what, I think our life could have been pretty good. Playing golf on Fridays. I think my life could have been really good just in the personal sale. Again, not my dream, not why I started, but I will tell you that the rest factor, REST, the rest factor in making money, putting money in my bank account, bonus money from Equus Financial, life got to be so good because money was not urgent. Life got to be so good because when one of my family had a need pop up and it was financial, we were able to handle it. Wasn't any big deal. Wasn't any big deal. Guys, when you get to the point where $5,000 becomes about as insignificant as the amount of money it costs you to buy a hamburger, life gets different. Life gets pretty good. most people it's like they're mayor of Suckville only because they perpetually live broke in their checking accounts. And it's just a fact. We're looking for people that want to change that. So, Matt, why don't you close us out?
Well, so everybody, we appreciate you. So we're going to hop over to the DRT. The DRT is getting ready to start. And then tomorrow we're going to have John Barlow from GPM. Many of y'all still know John Barlow. He was able to go over to GPM, and he is one of their representatives. He's going to come on and give us some important information tomorrow about GPM. So don't miss that at 10 o'clock. We appreciate each and every one of you. John's got one more thing to say. Go ahead, John.
Just want to say tomorrow morning, you've actually got me. John Barlow is actually going to be on January the 16th. So that's going to be the following week. So tomorrow, I'm just telling you, be loaded for bear because I'm ready to go. Like I'm going to be teaching from a distribution building standpoint along with personal sales. But I'm really going to get in the mindset of somebody that really wants to create massive income in 2025. And the only way you're going to create massive income is through a combination of personal sales and distribution building. So tomorrow I will attempt my very best on that. So DRT starting right now. You guys, y'all have the link. If you do not have the link for the DRT, please text one of us, but let's get on there.